cool, huh?
All right, just a few final words in closing about the build and the overall impressions of this Freewing 90mm T-45 EDF jet. I've been following the developments of this jet since I think around November of 2014, and immediately was just amazed by the appearance, the scale detail of this plane for a foamy. And even though, as I've mentioned on some of the forums, that my preference is to have a jet that is a little more of a fighter jet kind of appearance with armament and that sort of thing, the level of scale to this jet just really got me. And, you know, I have a fair amount of flying experience, but I'm by no means, you know, a master pilot at this point. So, yeah, I do have an EDF experience, and I'm looking forward to flying this jet. I think it offers some challenge for me, a little bit in speed, but at the same time, but I think that the jet offers also just a really little expanded flight envelope, and it's just nice for the bells and whistles. So that all said, as I commented in other aspects of my videos, this jet really comes out looking better than the majority of even like the best foam jets, and is getting near that of a composite jet. I'm not going to say it's a composite quality, but it's getting near that for a foam jet. And what I'm just really impressed with is that this plane goes together really well. It's complicated in terms of all the electronics overall for a foam jet. But there's few pieces that are here that need to be assembled, and it's basically just the majority of it's put together for you. You know, the landing gear, everything's put together. The one thing you got to do is assemble the wings with 4 bolts. You got to put the 2 carbon fiber rods in. It goes together really quick. I took my time with it, but I was done assembling it physically in about 40 minutes, and I took my time with the 13 screws. Basically, it's got to go in there. That's really it. And then from there, you know, it's hooking up, plugging in your electronics into your radio. Some people have had trouble with their ESCs, getting them armed for the first time. For whatever reason, I didn't have trouble with that. Mine armed up right away when I connected it up to my receiver. And so the only thing I have left to do is, you know, I have an 8-channel radio, but really in order to do this right, because they have the flaps and the slats, they for whatever reason are reversed to each other. So you can't wire harness these together. And so I really need, in order to do this right, I need 9 channels. So I have an ability to do that, but it's going to take me a little extra time to finish that up. Adding in the 9th channel in here into my Tyrannus receiver. But I'll do that, and then that way I'll be able to completely independently control the different features here. There's still some question about whether or not this PCB board has some issues in it, the quote-unquote gremlin. There have been a few people that have experienced this jet on takeoff just flipping over and going into the ground. Some have speculated, well, that's a feature that is common to this overall fuselage, to the shape of this plane, that happens with other models like that. If it's if you try to lift it off too soon, if you don't have enough speed. I don't know that I buy that, especially if you're using these flaps and slats, but certainly I'm not going to question the wisdom of those who have more experience than me. That's one theory. Another theory is that some people have seen some twitching in one of the flap servos. One gentleman plugged in his gear and noticed that the flap servo started to twitch. So that should be happening, and that would suggest that the PCB has some sort of fault in it. So that's another possibility. You know, if a guy's going to take off and he pulls the gear up and all of a sudden one of the flaps goes into flutter or goes in, deploys, that certainly is going to make the plane potentially invert. So these are all possibilities, and so then the question becomes: do you bypass the PCB board? Do you just go ahead and wire harness everything into the radio? At least all the major flight surfaces, and I'm thinking about that. I might just do that. Although it's so nice having that PCB board, it just cleans everything up in there. So I wish that wasn't really a compulsion that I'm feeling that I need to do. But I don't want to see this thing crash. At least, yeah, I don't want to see it crash at all, and especially not just because of something stupid like a faulty piece of equipment. So anyway, so that's where we're at with this. I've just about got it done. I've got everything trimmed in there pretty well now. The steering, the rudder, the wheel, ailerons are all set up right. You saw in this video my taxiing. I love the details of the light here and the cockpit. I do have to go and change these nav lights so they're not flashing, so that's going to require me to go in there and change the wiring a little bit, minor change in the wiring. And that's pretty much it. It's just about ready to go. I'm going to take this pitot tube, and I do actually have a pitot tube that's a functional pitot tube, and I bought an extra nose cone, and I'm going to try and see if I can set that up to work in here as a functional and keep it looking as scale as it has. We'll see how that goes. So stay tuned for that. I'll post some video on my progress on how that goes. So last thing to say is that, you know, hopefully to be made in this soon. I need to get these flaps and slats separated out, do some other minor reconfiguration, decide if I'm going to keep the PCB functional for my flight control services. Not sure about that. I'm anxious to get it in the air, but I'm not going to rush into this. You know, I have enough concerns about my own flight skills at times when I'm nervous for a new plane, as some of you others are aware of, or experienced that yourselves. I'm not going to rush into this as much as I want to fly it. I'm going to take a little time to research a little bit more what's the best way to handle it. I hope you enjoyed this. It's not... I hope it just helps you kind of get an idea. If you're thinking about buying this plane, I would advise it's worth, in my opinion, worth the money. It's a beautiful plane. Those who have gotten it flying successfully are impressed with its flight abilities. I will again update you on that. It goes together easy. They recommend it for intermediate to advanced. As far as flight skills go, yeah, it's probably accurate. Building this thing is as easy to build as any other plane. If you've put together a plane, you can put this one together. So that's it. I'll leave it at that, and stay tuned for, again, some descriptions here of my pitot tube as I get that developed, and hopefully get this made before too long. Thanks for watching.